Hi everyone, in this video I'll be explaining some common terms used by queer, LGBT, and allies. Let's start. When talking about queer and LGBT, there are two different aspects. Sexual orientation is who you like, and gender is who you are. They are completely different and do not influence each other in any way. Let's start with gender. To begin with, there are three main parts of gender. Your biological sex is what organs and chromosomes you have. Many people have only male or female organs, but a few people called intersex have both. Your gender expression is how you express yourself through hair, clothing, actions, and more. Lastly, your gender identity is what gender you know you are and/or how you perceive yourself to be. Cisgender is what happens when all of your gender parts line up. For example, you have female organs, you present yourself as a female, and you see yourself as a female. It's the same thing with males. The traditional view of two sexes, female and male, is called the gender binary. However, we are starting to realize that this is more of a spectrum than an either-or. People live all across and even outside of the spectrum. The people who don't fit in as strictly male or female are the non-binary or gender queer. There are many types of gender queer. However, this video is only long enough to cover three main branches. The first branch is gender fluid. If someone is gender fluid, then they shift around the gender spectrum. Sometimes they are more male, sometimes more female, and sometimes in the middle. Similar yet different is androgyny and bigender. People who are androgynous or bigender feel that they are a combination of male and female. While still somewhere in the middle of the spectrum, they don't move around as much as the gender fluid. The next part of gender queer is genderless. This is when a person doesn't identify with either gender. Instead of being in the spectrum, they float just outside of it. These people can also go by agender, non-gender, and other terms. Instead of branching out more, we're actually going to go up. Transgender is the term used to describe people whose gender identity doesn't match the gender they were born as. For example, they could be born as a girl, but know that they're actually a boy or genderless. Transgender includes all genderqueer and other groups, such as transsexuals. A transsexual is someone whose gender identity is on the opposite side of the gender spectrum as the gender they were born as. This term is no longer as widely accepted and is often substituted with binary transgender or just transgender. Binary transgender people often transition into their gender identity. An example is male to female or vice versa. Before we move on to sexual orientation, there are two more general terms I want to cover. If a person is transitioning, then they're adjusting their lifestyle to reflect their gender identity and not their birth gender. This can include changing names, pronouns, clothes, having surgery, and other things. A questioning person is exploring their current gender identity. Now to switch gears and go to sexual orientation. Remember, this is who you like and are attracted to and doesn't have anything to do with gender. People who like people of the opposite binary gender are called heterosexuals. Homosexuals are people who like someone of the same binary gender. However, this term is becoming less accepted as well and is being commonly broken up into gay and lesbian. Gay is usually used for a male who likes other males and lesbian for a female who likes other females. There are other types of sexual orientation that are neither heterosexual nor homosexual. Let's start with asexual. Asexual people have no romantic nor sexual attractions to anyone. In other words, they're happily single. Next up is bisexual. People who are bisexual are attracted to two genders. This can be any two genders. For example, they can be attracted to boys and girls, or girls and genderless. It doesn't matter. However, when you add more genders, you get polysexual. Polysexuals are attracted to more than two genders, but not quite all of the genders. For example, you can like boys, genderless, and gender fluid, but not girls. The genders that you are or are not attracted to doesn't matter in order to be a polysexual. The last sexual orientation I'm covering today is pansexual. People who are pansexual are attracted to all genders. Just to be clear, all of these sexual orientations aren't attracted to everyone in the gender or genders they like. For example, just because you are gay doesn't mean you want to date all of the boys you meet. The same is true for all of these. People don't love an entire gender, they love a person. Before we wrap up this video, I'd like to quickly clarify the term crossdresser. A crossdresser or transvestite steps outside of the norm only in how they express themselves. For example, just because a man likes to wear dresses, it doesn't mean his gender identity isn't wholly male. The only thing being a transvestite means is that you like to express your gender identity differently than what society deems normal for your gender. There are dozens of more terms that fall under queer and LGBT, but they wouldn't all fit into this short video, no matter how fast I talk. So if you want more information, here's a good list I found written by UCLA. It is also linked below. Thank you for watching, and remember, it doesn't matter what terms we fall under, because we still have many similarities. After all, we can all be called human.